The lost 30 years of Jesus are one of the greatest mysteries in history. How can such an influential character have such a significant gap in his biography? The New Testament mentions his childhood, but soon jumps to his ministry, leaving many questions in the air. What really happened during this period? Some intriguing theories emerge, suggesting that he may have joined the Essenes, a mystical group who sought wisdom and spirituality. Others believe that Jesus studied Egyptian magic, delving into ancient and occult knowledge. Let's imagine for a moment that he traveled to exotic places, absorbing cultures and teachings that shaped his worldview. These ideas are not just speculation, these are clues that lead us to question the traditional narrative. What does the Church not want you to discover about these dark years? What is hidden in the shadows of the story of Jesus? Each theory brings with it a new layer of understanding, challenging everything we think we know. Get ready for a fascinating journey into the unknown, where mysteries and revelations intertwine, and the truth may be even more surprising than we imagine. The historical gap in the Gospels. In the Gospels, there is a clear absence of information about the years between Jesus' childhood and the beginning of his ministry. This gap is intriguing and raises many questions. The accounts of his childhood are brief and, for the most part, focus on specific events such as the birth and the visit of the Magi. After that, the Gospels offer no details about what happened while Jesus was growing up. This lack of information can make it difficult to understand how he developed as a leader and thinker. This lack of data can have several implications. Firstly, without knowing how Jesus spent these years, it is difficult to understand the influences that shaped his character and teachings. What did he learn? What experiences did you have? These questions remain unanswered. Furthermore, this gap can lead to different interpretations about your figure. Some people may see him as a divine being who always knew his destiny, while others may imagine him as a young man in search of knowledge. Scholars try to fill this gap with assumptions and theories. Many wonder if Jesus had a formal education or if he was taught by his parents. Others question whether he was involved with religious groups at the time. These speculations generate heated debates about the true nature of Jesus and his role in history. The lack of information also raises questions about the transmission of the story. How have stories about Jesus been told and retold over the years? What may have been lost or changed? These uncertainties are part of the challenge of studying the life of Jesus and understanding his impact. Finally, the historical gap in the Gospels reminds us that the life of Jesus is a complex topic. The absence of clear information can generate more questions than answers, but it also invites us to explore different possibilities and consider the many stories that have not been told. Theories about the life of Jesus during the lost years. Theories about Jesus' life during the lost years are fascinating and varied. One of the most discussed is the possibility that Jesus joined Essene communities. These groups were known for their strict religious practices and pursuit of spiritual purity. If Jesus really was with them, it could have profoundly influenced their teachings on morality and spirituality. Another theory suggests that Jesus may have traveled to distant regions, such as India or Egypt. This idea is based on the belief that he could have learned Eastern philosophies that shaped his worldview. This possibility raises questions about how cultural and religious traditions from different places may have intertwined in his life and teachings. Some researchers point out that Jesus could have studied in wisdom centers, where the exchange of ideas and knowledge was common. This exchange could have enriched your understanding of life and spirituality. This theory suggests that he was not only a religious leader, but also a thinker who absorbed influences from diverse cultures. Furthermore, the lack of concrete historical records allows these theories to thrive. The Gospels do not offer enough information to confirm or refute these ideas, which leaves room for speculation. This can be both a limitation and an opportunity for academic research. In short, theories about Jesus' life during the lost years are intriguing and invite us to reflect on the complexity of his formation. Each hypothesis brings with it a new perspective on who Jesus was and how his experiences may have shaped his teachings. Influence of religious and philosophical traditions. The religious and philosophical traditions that surrounded Jesus, certainly played an important role in shaping his thoughts and teachings. At the time, Stoicism was on the rise, and its ideas about virtue and reason may have influenced the way Jesus approached moral issues. This philosophical movement emphasized self-discipline and emotional control, concepts that resonate with many of Jesus' teachings about the importance of love and compassion. In addition to Stoicism, Gnosticism was also on the boil. This current sought deep and secret knowledge about the divine nature, which may have impacted the way Jesus related to concepts of spirituality and revelation. Gnostics believed that truth was hidden and that deep understanding was needed to reach it, something that can be seen in Jesus' parables, which often had deeper meanings behind the simple stories. Hinduism, although geographically distant, could also have exerted some influence. The idea of a spiritual path and the search for union with the divine are themes present in both Hindu traditions and the teachings of Jesus. The notion that everyone is in search of a greater purpose could have been intertwined with the messages Jesus conveyed about the kingdom of God. The cultures around Jesus were a melting pot of religious ideas and practices. This cultural diversity may have provided a rich tapestry of influences that shaped their worldview. Living with different beliefs and exchanging ideas may have encouraged Jesus to deepen his reflections on spirituality and ethics, resulting in teachings that still resonate today. Thus, the influence of religious and philosophical traditions surrounding Jesus cannot be underestimated. They not only contextualize his ministry, but also help you understand the depth and complexity of his messages, which continue to inspire and challenge people throughout the centuries. Apocryphal documents and texts. Apocryphal texts, those that did not enter the official canon of the Bible, offer an intriguing perspective on the life of Jesus. One of the most famous is the Gospel of Thomas, which contains a collection of sayings attributed to Jesus. These writings can reveal aspects of his philosophy that are not present in the canonical Gospels, suggesting a broader and more diverse view of his teachings. These non-canonical documents were often considered heretical by early church leaders, but over time researchers began to revisit these texts. Analysis of the Gospel of Thomas, for example, can offer insight into the spirituality and mysticism that permeated Jesus' life, revealing a side that may have been suppressed by official narratives. In addition to the Gospel of Thomas, there are other apocryphal texts that deal with the childhood and youth of Jesus, such as the Proto-Evangelium of James. These writings, although not considered historical on the same level as the Gospels, provide a fascinating insight into the traditions surrounding his figure. They can help fill in some gaps about your background and the environment in which you grew up. The relevance of these apocryphal texts goes beyond mere historical curiosity. They also raise questions about the nature of truth and faith. If we consider that the story of Jesus was shaped by various influences and contexts, these writings can offer valuable insights into how he was perceived and interpreted by different groups over time. In short, the discussion of apocryphal documents and texts is essential to understanding the life of Jesus. They open up a range of possibilities that challenge traditional narratives and offer a new lens through which we can observe not only the figure of Jesus, but also the formation of Christian thought throughout history. Impact of the lost years on Christian theology. The so-called lost years of Jesus, the period from his childhood to the beginning of his ministry, are a true mystery that intrigues scholars and believers. The lack of information about this phase of Jesus' life has a significant impact on Christian theology. The historical void leads to questions about who Jesus was before he became a public figure and how his experiences shaped his teachings. This makes many wonder whether the lack of data is an indication that these years were less relevant. The implications of this gap are vast. For many theologians, the absence of reports may suggest that Jesus' life experience was not limited to the dogmas of the time. This interpretation opens up the idea that he may have been influenced by different traditions and philosophies, enriching his message of love and compassion. With this, the figure of Jesus becomes more complex, not just as the Messiah, but as a thinker who may have absorbed ideas from different cultural contexts. Furthermore, This lack of information can lead to a more esoteric view of Christianity. The belief that Jesus may have traveled or studied in other places can create a broader connection with other spiritual traditions. This challenges the traditional view that Christian theology is an exclusive revelation, and instead suggests an interconnection between different beliefs. This perspective may be attractive to many who seek a more inclusive spirituality. On the other hand, the absence of clear data can also generate distrust and skepticism. Some Christians may feel insecure about the authenticity of their faith if there is no deep understanding of the years that shaped Jesus. This uncertainty can lead to divisions within the Christian community itself, where different interpretations of these years can result in heated debates about the nature of Jesus and his mission. Finally, reflection on the lost years of Jesus continues to be a topic of debate among theologians, historians, and believers. How this gap is addressed can vary widely, but one thing is certain: the impact on Christian theology is undeniable and continues to influence how Jesus is perceived today. The Church's role in information concealment. When talking about the lost years of Jesus, it is difficult not to consider the role of the Church in this narrative. Many scholars believe that the early Church may have neglected or even hidden information about these years for several reasons. One of the main motivations may have been the search for the preservation of an orthodox narrative that consolidated the power and influence of the Church in society. By focusing on the best-known aspects of Jesus' life, the Church could ensure a more controlled and unified image of the Messiah. Another reason may be related to religious dogma. By omitting information about the unknown years, the Church may have sought to avoid creating divergent interpretations that could challenge established doctrine. This approach would help keep the Christian faith on a specific path, preventing new ideas or theories from dividing the faithful. The emphasis on Jesus' ministry and crucifixion then becomes a means of strengthening belief in his divinity and resurrection. Furthermore, hiding information may have been a strategy to avoid religious syncretism. With the diversity of beliefs present at the time, there was a risk that the figure of Jesus would be interpreted in different ways, depending on the cultural context. By not exploiting the lost years, the Church could avoid the contamination of the Christian message by other traditions that could dilute its essence. On the other hand, this omission also raises ethical questions about the Church's transparency. Many believers feel deceived when they realize that parts of Jesus' life have been left out. This lack of information can lead to a crisis of confidence, especially among those seeking a deeper, more authentic understanding of the faith. The idea that the Church would have deliberately hidden information is not something that many Christians accept easily. In short, the analysis of the role of the Church in hiding information about the lost years of Jesus reveals a complexity that goes beyond the simple lack of data. This dynamic between control, dogma, and the search for a cohesive narrative continues to influence how the story of Jesus is told and understood today. And so, after exploring the intriguing 30 lost years of Jesus, the question remains: what really happened during this period? Did he connect with the Essenes, or perhaps he absorbed knowledge from Egyptian mystical traditions? The possibilities are fascinating and at the same time disturbing. The theories that emerge from these dark years make us reflect on the true essence of Jesus. What else doesn't history tell us? What if everything we know is just the tip of the iceberg? This mystery leads us to question not only the life of Jesus, but also the very nature of faith and hidden knowledge that many try to hide. Imagine the depth of answers we could find if we unlock these secrets. Have you ever stopped to think about how this could change your perception of spirituality? If you are curious and want to delve even deeper into this topic, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Share your opinions and theories in the comments. After all, the search for knowledge is a journey we take together. What do you think is hidden in the shadows of history? Let's find out together.